Yo, YouTube. Just gonna talk to you guys a little bit about my aluminum boat you've been seeing me fish out of a lot here recently. I get a lot of questions. A lot of you guys are curious about, just about this boat, what it is, what brand it is, and how it all came about. So here it is. I'm done. So first of all, let's check the specs on this boat. 16 and a half foot, 16 and a half foot. It is a Fisher Marine is the actual brand on the title. Of course, I don't have any of the logos on it right now, but it's a Fisher Marine 16 and a half foot, 70 horsepower Johnson, and I run a little 17-inch pitch aluminum prop on mine. I run an aluminum prop just because I like to hit stuff. And that aluminum is a lot softer, so I feel like I'm saving my lower unit just by running aluminum prop. Stainless steel probably give me a little bit more speed and everything, but I'll probably be able to corner and do a lot of other stuff a lot better. But I hit a lot of stuff, so I need that softer prop to protect my lower unit. It's a pretty narrow one. This was not wide at all. But I kind of built this whole boat. I pretty much bought it and gutted the whole thing. And I'll kind of show you, all the details about it. The whole reason I bought this little boat was, back when a couple 10, 15 years ago, I always wanted an extra boat that I could do that I could fish the rivers with here in South Carolina and a lot of places at home that I wanted to fish, but you couldn't really access them with a glass boat. Or actually, I did access them with my bass boat, my glass boat, but I did a lot of damage to my first couple bass boats by doing stuff that you probably really shouldn't be doing in a bass boat. And I always wanted two boats, but I couldn't afford it. And about 5 years ago, I saw this boat out at my dad's shop. I had my eye on this thing for like 6 months. A guy had one in the back of his yard. It was just totally wrecked. It was, had a bunch of weeds growing over it. It was beer cans in it and everything. And I was like, dude, that'd be an awesome boat to have to do all this river stuff that I like to do and all. And I finally got the courage one day to just go knock on the door and, dude, what's up with the boat? You want to sell this deal? Is it for sale? Lo and behold, I went and asked the guy. First time he was like, yeah, man, I'll sell it to you for $1,500. I was like, dude, you got literally poison oak growing out of the boat. Like, I can't give you $1,500. Long story short, ended up getting the boat for like $400. And I got it. It took me about a year and a half to build everything out on it. I totally stripped it. I took all of the decking out. I took all of it had live wells in it, and I literally stripped it back to bucket naked. Stripped it back to nothing, but I left this back deck in here. I left that in here. Took the motor off. I had to redo the transom. I had to do everything. I pretty much took, all I had was a hull. And so that allowed me to kind of build the boat exactly like how I wanted. So that's how I got to the deck. I'll show you my deck. So that's how I got to like this deck design that you see here, which honestly, the deck on this 16 and a half foot boat is probably bigger than a lot of bass boats that are like 19 to 20 foot long, to be honest with you. I mean, when I'm up there fishing out of this boat, I got just as much room as I do on my bass boat. But I built it up, put all new carpet in it. It was a job, dude. It's a big job for one, for one man. I did not put live wells back on this boat. I wanted to make it strictly for fun. I didn't want to have it for competition or anything like that. This boat is just strictly for me to go and do silly stuff with, and something where I can run it in the rocks and I can be out like $100, you know. Jump logs with it. I don't have to worry about tearing it up. I can walk in this boat with mud on my boots, not really care. It's just that kind of deal for me. But I love fishing out of it. I love fishing out of small crafts. I had some really, it's definitely been worth all the labor that I put into this boat, because like I said, it took me about a year and a half in between fishing tournaments. During fishing tournament season, I wouldn't work on it so much. During the fall, I'd work on it. And it was a big job. When I first had this boat, I didn't even have a good trolling motor on it. I was able to upgrade to a brand new Motor Guide X3 like last year. For the first like 2 or 3 years that I had this boat, I ran an old foot control that had so much play in it that was so hard to turn and everything. But you know, it worked. It got the job done, and I kind of intentionally liked it a little bit not so great, because I think sometimes as tournament fishermen we get used to having everything like just perfect. So I thought it was good to have something that's like not all the way highest tech piece of equipment out there, just to make you get used to staying in the moment, and I don't know, something deep like that. But I had to finally break down and get a new trolling motor. That's a 45-pound thrust trolling motor. Also went back with a hand control. Myself that I was probably going to do a little bit of saltwater fishing out of this deal too this summer, and I'll probably have like a poling platform on it. So I went back with a I actually went back with a hand control so I could use a poling platform. Let you look over it. You know, there's 2 compartments up front. I don't ever use them. There's a compartment here, compartment there. I don't ever use them, actually. I usually carry very little tackle when I fish out of this boat. You know, it's usually I'll have 2 or 3 rods. Well, you can see right there. There's 4 rods over there, and 2 of them are my brother's right there. So I don't really use a whole lot of rods. Usually when I'm going to fish out of this boat, I got like a baggie full of tackle. Right here in the back, you know, I run a 12-volt trolling motor battery, a 12-volt trolling motor on this boat. That's all my cranking battery and all that mess back here. I had to redo all that. I got a little 6-gallon fuel tank. And I'll be honest with you, that little 70-horse thing right there, that little 70-horse carburetor will suck down 6 gallons of fuel in no time. I mean, it drinks the fuel. That's really important on this deal, is that hydraulic jack plate, because it does let me get places that I normally wouldn't be able to get to, having that little hydraulic jack plate on there. That's a big deal. I can access like these little mud flats and stuff. A lot of times when you're fishing in rivers and stuff like that, there'll be flats, and when you get over to that flat, you'll be like a little 1.5 to 2 foot depression, or sometimes you need to jump a sandbar, so I can get on plane, that real shallow water, skip over stuff that I probably wouldn't otherwise be able to get over. But you can see this boat drafts literally like no water. You can see the water line on it. So if it's a little deeper than ankle deep, that's like 6 inches. So like 10 inches, and that's just sitting down. So when I'm on plane, I can literally run in almost no water. There's not a whole lot technical on this boat. I got 2 seats. That's about as technical as it can get. You know, like far as the construction on this boat, it's pretty much just plywood is all I used. I used some Thompson's water sealer before I put the carpet on there. I hadn't had any problems with it so far. So it's cheap, easy to build, man. I probably have somewhere around $1,500 in the whole boat, most likely, because I did everything myself. So last year I did upgrade to a newer trailer. I actually practiced for the tour event on Gunnersville out of this boat. So I do, the only limitation that I really have out of this particular boat is fuel. 6 gallons doesn't get me very far. I could always put a 12-gallon tank or so in there, and that'll give me maybe 20-25 mile range. You can see, of course, I had to black out the wheels on it. That's just me being extra. But it's a jewel, and there's a lot of them around out there that are sitting in people's yards. If you'll get out there and look and just kind of pay attention when you're going about your daily business driving, you'll find out there's a lot of boats like this in the back of people's yards. And fix it up, Make it whatever. Use your imagination. If you want a bass boat, you can make it a bass boat. You can make it a center console. I mean, you can use all your imagination. If you got the heart to go knock on the door and ask about it, you probably can get one for much of nothing and have you an awesome rig that you can use to fish around little small ponds, lakes, rivers, or some of your bigger places. Like I do, because like I said, I fish out of this thing all the time. When I'm in between boats in the off season, sometimes there's a little lapse, a month or two. I fish out of it almost every day. So try it out, man. It's a great thing for you kids out there. If you got a small tow vehicle, maybe you don't have a truck, you got like a small little SUV or a small like 4-cylinder truck, or maybe you just got a car. I can pull this thing with anything. I mean, it's very low cost involved in it. So check it out. Get out there, man. Get out there on the water. Look for an excuse to find you a boat and drive out there. If you get one of these, you're going to enjoy it. I've had a blast fishing out of mine. So that's my tin rig. Peace.